Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, APC expresses satisfaction with support for Lawan Gbajabiamila. Cecilia Ibru accuses Emir Sanusi of persecution. And later on the show, Vice President Osinbajo says large area of Borno State still inaccessible as bandits kill 5, burn 98 villages in Zamfara. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otoju and Dari Odufaokon. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. A strong will and broad-based supports are the ultimate elixir for political success, despite some opposition within and without its vote. That's the All Progressive Congress, APC, is satisfied with the level of support for its choice candidates for the President of the Ninth Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The APC National Publicity Secretary, Malam Lanre Issa Onilu, said the party has done enough mobilization to ensure that the battle is won. According to him, the remaining leadership position in the next National Assembly will soon be zoned. Will I call this being so sure that the APC would not get a shocker in that election? Because the opposition party, they're very, very quiet with their strategy. Close to nothing. You hear close to nothing from the camp of the PDP, the agenda for this night assembly. Now, the APC is saying, we're good to go. And Gbajabiamila was even quoted as saying that, yes, I think I have enough support base.
Well, Issa Onilu is someone that I know very well. He's an experienced perception management analyst. And all I think he's trying to do is to build confidence. Rally the troops around the interest of the party. That basically is what he's doing. He's neither a senator nor a House of Reps member. He doesn't live in the hearts of senators. Politicians will always be politicians, and the ways of politicians are sometimes very strange. You can imagine a politician who is a governor suddenly seeking to be chief of staff to a president. It happens in this country. And when some individuals say, no, this shouldn't happen, and they do their best to get the president to not look in his direction, he will start abusing people like a little boy who has been robbed of his candy. So this is the way politicians are. You never can trust them. Their actions can be as unpredictable as the Manchester weather. So for some of us, we still think that Lawan and Gbajabiamila are the candidates to beat. But we know that Ndume is unrelenting. We know that Ndume has a few supporters. We know that Goje has supporters, even from some unexpected quarters.
They're the same political party.
Yes. So in my view, what can guarantee victory for the APC, and I've said that repeatedly, is not simply for the national leader of the party to say, this is the position of the party. The position of the party must be given fillip by other big wigs in the party. Because what is Ndume saying? Ndume is saying, no, the VP never told me to drop my ambition. Oh, the president has never shown interest in a candidate. The party must get its leading lights to endorse particular candidate. Now Ndume is saying it's even illegal to endorse a candidate. It's strange to me to hear a politician say it's illegal to endorse a candidate. To say a party cannot endorse a particular candidate. What he is saying is that they should allow them, it's a shadow election, they should allow those of them from the Northeast to sit amongst themselves and then choose a candidate amongst themselves. So if they cannot manage the crisis that results from that, who then handles it for them? At that point, the party will still have to come in. So to take a risk and leave the Ndumes of this world to sit down amongst themselves and determine that, oh, it has to be so-so person. I don't think that is what any responsible party would want to see happen. There's nothing wrong. The PDP did it for years. We will know before the election who the party is rallying its support for. So if APC wants to show that it is truly a serious party, then the APC must pass this test. Because this is a test of the seriousness, of the preeminence of the party on the national stage. You've won an election. Things that happen after the election must show you, must bear you out as a serious-minded party, as a party that is marked out by virtue of its cohesiveness. And the greatest guarantee for victory for APC is for Goje, for Ndume, and others to not be in the race. I've said that repeatedly. If we are saying this is the position of the party, then, especially now that the PDP has, they've refused to unbutton their lips over this matter. They've zipped up their lips. Nobody knows who they are supporting, you know. And we still know that people like Saraki are still there, like wounded lions. You know, if you see where lions attempts to kill a buffalo, you will see the anger of the buffalo. It's one of the most dangerous animals that you can come up against. They are wounded lions. They are angry, and they have an opportunity to show the APC the depth of their anger. But that is if the APC fails to put its house in order.
And they pray for this situation.
Yes. So a situation similar to the last one is right there before our eyes. So if they can get the party or the aspirants to rally around one candidate, then there is a strong possibility of victory. But not when we are not sure that Goje will not contest. Not when it's apparent that Ndume will not listen to anybody. He's going to contest. He's going around the place and saying, no, I must contest. Even the old man from Nasarawa, nobody knows where he belongs. The former governor. Nobody knows where he belongs. Whether he wants to use that to kind of as a bargaining chip, because the party, by also not zoning other positions, by not letting us know where it has zoned, there are 6, for goodness sake, there are 6 positions open to the APC in each of those chambers. But you have not only talked about
number one.
One in the Senate, one position in the Senate, one position in the House of Reps. You must let these lawmakers know where you stand, what is the position of the party, where is the party zoning other positions, so that you can use that to leverage and gain their support. But right now, the lawmakers are on their own.
Dari, when you look at what is happening in the House of Reps, even people within the APC from the North Central, they are not taking this lilo. And the bagos of this world, they are ready to go all out.
They made it very clear that they will not go down without a fight. In spite of efforts by the party to get members elect in that zone to buy into the Gbajabiamila ambition, and quite a number of them are still not cooperating with the party. But this should be expected. And I'll take it from the very last thing the maestro said here. The party by not completing the zoning arrangement, is making another great mistake that could cost it the leadership of the National Assembly. We must not give people the impression that the party is just interested in the headship of the two chambers. If you have zoned the speaker to the southwest, if you officially come out to say the deputy speaker goes to so zone, the whip goes, you will be able to build a team. By now, we should understand.
I have a fair idea who is
a clear, not even fair. I mean, it's so close. A clear idea of who are the people the party wants in position. That way, you will have somebody from the North Central backing Gbajabiamila as his deputy, mobilizing votes not only for Gbajabiamila, for also himself. You will have somebody from maybe the Southeast running for a particular position, mobilizing in that zone, and giving the people and members elect in that zone some sense of belonging in this project. We are making it appear as if the entire project is about Gbajabiamila, is about Lawan. And that is why I'm not too comfortable when the party said it is satisfied with. Yes, if you look at it on the face value, the kind of support the Gbajabiamila Lawan projects have been enjoying, one may want to say, yes, all is looking well. But the danger is, the difference between now and 2015 is that in 2015, we saw people speaking openly. We will not support Lawan. We will work for Saraki. So we could do some sort of head count. And we knew that if something is not done, there is a problem. And eventually, it turned out that there was a huge problem. But this time around, nobody is talking about the possible strength of a Goje, for example, or Ndume even within the APC. Within the APC. Now, let's take a look at a scenario where suddenly these two people are able to prize away, like, say, a third of APC senators on their side. I mean Ndume and Goje. Taking away one third. That is very dangerous. If PDP suddenly throws one of their men into the race and they keep their block votes, it could be quite dangerous. In the House of Reps, for example, feelers have it that one of the, you can see the silence PDP is putting up. Feelers have it that one of their game is the ambition of Idogara. That, though within the PDP, there are those who feel no, he shouldn't make a dash for this position. But it is also being rumored that one of the possibilities is that he will watch, he will have the people from North Central divide the APC, then he will throw himself into the race. If he keeps the PDP votes and possibly get some
you have like 8 to 9 people, other aspirants from APC.
Within APC. I mean, we cannot rule out all possibilities just yet. The thing for the party to do, I want to give kudos to this party this time around. It has shown it's a direction. We want this, and the party is speaking. But the party should go all out and zone the remaining positions. If this is done, the party should also speak with more voices. This party has been speaking with just one voice. The national chairman speaking on behalf of the party. The National Working Committee speaking on behalf of, but there is more to the party than just that. There are national leaders. There are leaders in each zones of the country. There are leaders in zones of the country. There are leaders in each state. We know people who are called leaders of the party in this state. There are some states where the party does not even have the governor, but we have leaders of that. For example, when you talk about APC in the likes of Bayelsa, some people are called the leader. When you talk about APC in the leaders in each state, the leaders in the zone, other prominent figures, then the governors. Surprisingly, I will use the word surprisingly, the APC governors are not speaking, so to speak, in this as they should. Each time I analyze the scenario and I see, for the first time in the politics of our country, governors are not showing enough vigor and interest in the emergence of the leadership of the National Assembly. I begin to fear that all is not well. So, like the maestro said, they should bring out people like the governors to give that. Save for the governor of Borno, who openly said, this is where we are going. I am yet to see the same energy being exercised by the governors are very important in this calculation. Many of them are going to the Senate. They should speak out.
Our first caller, Rahim from Oshobo, Osun State. Thank you for joining us, Rahim.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, Rahim.
Yes?
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yeah, my contribution is all what you are saying. You see, elder people don't just speak. They don't just speak. Even though if they have shown the positions to candidates, they will not come to the public domain to be saying it. That is how elders do. See, I'm telling you, when it comes to the time of election, Goje and Dume, they will withdraw. I'm telling you the fact. We should have that type of situation now. But when it comes to the real voting, they will withdraw. I can bet it. I think you follow what I mean. Yeah, I can bet it. You don't come to public domain to say this will be this will be that, this will be. That is how elders do. You don't speak. Once you speak of the major candidates, that is all. All those other positions, they know those who will get that position.
Thank you, Rahim. Thank you for your contribution.
It's a very... when you look at our immediate past, and you hear the sort of thing that he said, you just start laughing.
Because there is a precedent.
Were those leaders able to stop the the governor of Sokoto from contesting against Mulika at that time? Mulika, because what are we saying here? Well, they were unable to stop him. So to simply imagine that, by the time on the day of election, those guys, how are they different from Saraki? Who went against
We had this kind of statements then, that on the day of election, Saraki will step down.
There was a shadow election. There was a shadow election in Atiku's house. Remember?
Yes.
Even that shadow election that was supposed to pick a candidate for the APC was disrupted. To show you then that they had made up their mind that this is what.
Him not to run.
So the thing is, he is extremely. I like people when they are overly optimistic, you know. Okay. But time is always time. See, even this one will not work. It is clear.
If they don't step down before election day, what confidence do we have?
What did the governor of Kano at that time, former governor of Kano, say? He said, once people have spent so much money to mobilize their colleagues, and we know that it's costing them dollars to mobilize their colleagues, it will be difficult for them to listen to you at the last minute. He is saying that at the last minute they are going to step down. Time is a gentleman. We'll see whether they will step down.
We'll see.
The party
still to come. Cecilia Ibru accuses Emir Sanusi of persecution. We'll be right back after this timeout. Stay with us. Welcome back. Still journalist hangout. In case you're just joining us, Shola Ojosi is also in the house. Shola, it's been a while.
Great pleasure seeing you again.
All right. It appears the Emir of Kano, that Mohammed Sanusi, is on trial, and the tribulation seems endless after the perceived battles with some political foes. Emir Sanusi had his kingdom reduced from 44 to 10 local government areas when the Kano Emirates was split into 5. Now, he's facing another trial with a former colleague in the banking sector, accusing him of persecution when he held sway as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria between 2009 and 2015. The former chief executive officer of defunct Oshane Bank, that's Cecilia Ibro, accused Sanusi of waging war against her because he thought she wanted his job. She also accused the emir of ordering the withdrawal of her personal driver and security personnel. But why? Jide, let me come back to you again. Cecilia Ibru, when I read that interview, that would be the first time I'm going to be reading anything from her. Since in a long time.
A very long time.
Yeah, she just went underground since the Oceanic Bank debacle. Then, now this woman is coming to tell us what happened when Emir Sanusi held sway at the Central Bank of Nigeria at that time.
The feeling that some Nigerians have is that the rest of us are not students of history, that our memories are short. Today, if Sanusi falls, people like Erastus Akingbola, people like Cecilia Ibru will jubilate because it was Sanusi that came and put an end to the rot that was happening in their banks. And whatever you say about Sanusi behaved like a true Nigerian hero in taking the actions that he took at that time. And he was voted Banker of the Year, Global Banker of the Year, not Africa or not Nigeria, Global Banker of the Year for the reforms that he put in place. For example, Sanusi came up with the idea of corporate governance in banks, whereby as the owner of a bank or as MD, you are going to have just 2 terms. You cannot do more than 10 years. You can't do more than 10 years, even if you own the bank. He was the one who came up with that idea. Not only, you know, if he had not done that, bank owners were already behaving like little gods, treating depositors' funds just the way they like. And he didn't want a situation in which distress would creep back into the banking sector. So when he saw signs that those banks were unhealthy again, because there were some foreign agencies that conducted a survey that showed that Nigerian banks, beyond the lies that Soludo and Co were telling us, were actually not doing well. Those banks were not as healthy as they wanted us to believe. So when he came, he met about 5 banks were actually in trouble, and they could collapse anytime. So what did he do? He did exactly what Barack Obama did in the US. Barack Obama decided to reflate some companies that were dying.
I remember.
He gave them bailouts.
28.
But he took a decision. He said, we will not allow the management of those companies that ran them aground to be the ones to manage the funds that we are going to release to save those banks from going under. It's exactly what Sanusi did. It was Sanusi's idea to come up with AMCON. Because the bad debts of those banks, because these people were simply giving out loans frivolously. So the bad debts of those banks, AMCON was now empowered to take over those risks. So just so that, and provided money so that those banks, you can run those banks, AMCON will now be the one chasing these people who have taken overdraft here and there, the Jimo Ibrahims of this world, and chasing them to find the money. Yes, to ensure that we. There was a story I did at that time that I called them overdraft billionaires. You know, when you imagine how much some of them were owing banks, you just shake your head. So it was AMCON's responsibility to now go chasing the money, but he knew that those banks were in a perilous situation. And at the end of the day, he got NDIC and the CBN to do due diligence on those banks, and they discovered that people like Cecilia Ibru had thoroughly misbehaved in terms of running their banks. And Cecilia Ibru was put on trial. She pleaded guilty, and she was jailed.
She returned.
Convicted.
I think she returned.
191 assets. The judge stripped her of 191 assets. Those 191 assets amounted to 194 billion. That's the same person talking today. I can criticize Sanusi because, like we all know, he's not a perfect person. But I won't sit here and watch people like Cecilia Ibru, believing that our memory is so short, and now try to cast Sanusi as a bad light, as a bad person. No. When she was in soup, this Cecilia Ibru had to call Umar Mutalab. Mutalab is the biggest banker to come out of northern Nigeria. And he is the godfather of this Sanusi, just like he played godfather to many bankers from that part of the country. She had to go and beg the man, please, talk to Sanusi so that Sanusi can leave me alone. But Sanusi's talk to his gone, that look, the right thing must be done so that people can learn lessons. That is just the thing. He did no wrong. And Chartered Institute of Bankers, you know, those ones, they don't waste time. The moment they saw that Cecilia Ibru had been convicted, they struck her name out of their membership register. They removed her as a honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. They didn't waste time.
Shola, during her time, during Ibu's time, she was one of the high-flying bankers, that bank MDs that time, so glamorous and everything. They always sat with the president.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have to agree with what Jide said. I was going to say, you know, there is a common Yoruba proverb that says, when the elephant dies, or let me not use the word dies, considering the Sanusi situation now. It's
the
not
death
dead.
of an elephant.
Distress or something.
You see a lot of knives coming out. But I was wondering, when I read that write-up by Cecilia, or the interview, I was wondering where she had been all along. Why did she have to wait till the time Sanusi is, in quotes, under some pressure from his domain, that she's now coming up with this kind of thing? But I think it's preposterous of somebody like her. You have pleaded guilty to all these things you're talking about. You can't play on our intelligence. No. It's wrong when you have admitted to committing these crimes, and now to come and start abusing or accusing the whistleblower, in quotes, who really brought out this to the world of, I mean, I think it's quite petty and it's unfair. But she said she was going to bring out a book. She's writing a book on her experience and all those things. We are glad to hear that. We are waiting for that. But I think she has to do the future generation. Let me see, going back to you, that lady, before we knew there was a lot of skeleton in the cupboard, was a kind of pride, especially to women. I have to say that she was, like, to quote you, high-flying.
She was a church person.
From one church to another church.
But, you know, it's also a lesson over time for people, you know. Don't always judge a book by the cover. You see a lot of razzmatazz around, but by the time you look deeper, you begin to see the shortcomings of people. But I think she has learnt a lesson. She has served a term. She should move on rather than being too vindictive.
She was sentenced.
She was sentenced, yes.
She spent the better part of her ready
based on the
conviction. I think 9 months or something.
You know, when you have, you know, in the business world, the idea of taking banks and all those things is just by the way. You know, when you say, there are people, when they say, people who are in charge of regulating banks are doing their job, there is the tendency of people to say, okay, they're trying to raid the bank, they want the position, they want to, but that's by the way. The facts on the ground, you are saying this after the facts. The facts have been established that you were not neat as a banker. You were not above board, and you had to pay for it. You had to go to jail for it. I think the best thing is just to let bygones be bygones regarding this. Yeah, the fact that Sanusi is having this problem does not mean it's not going to overcome. It's all politics. Whatever is happening in Kano, you never know. You know, it's about the powers that be at this present moment. Anything can happen in the future.
So, Dari, what do you make of...
What do I make of it? So I'll just speak from what you said that she has learned her lesson. I think she has not learned her lesson.
I don't think she has learned her lessons.
I'll say this because if she has learned her lesson, she would not pick the style to make a re-entry. This particular approach to relaunching.
She even claimed that the man was thought that he was interested in
his job.
There was no time that Cecilia Ebru was
close to becoming CBN
governor.
So
No, she was not in the reckoning at all.
What she should be telling us now, you see, this is somebody who was a spiritual role model to some people. Yes,
You like, be apologizing for.
It's like some people in the past, some godly people in the past fell from grace to grass, and they picked their life by apologizing. She should be apologizing and telling us what actually happened. I experienced in preferring, because she was convicted.
Yes.
I experienced why she did it. Perhaps
she won't tell you why she did it. She has admitted that.
Yeah, she did it.
Yes, you gave out this loan and without any form of security. Those are the
people she should go after, not a Sanusi.
No, she should help us. I expect that the book she will write,
to name
the book she will write will help us, help bankers.
To know how not to make the same mistake.
To achieve
due diligence.
In terms of due diligence and risk management. Risk management, because risk management is a big problem in banks. That's why a lot of the banks are in trouble. So, as an experienced banker and someone who went to jail, for some kind of infractions, she should be able to write a book that will teach people how to get away from this kind of things.
How to run your bank.
How not to run a bank.
Why I fell.
Or how I fell.
That would be a bestseller.
But for you to now pick on a troubled emir and decide that, oh, this is a fine time for me, it shows vindictiveness.
Yeah.
And I won't think somebody who is vindictive is repentant.
I think she mentioned.
No, that's why I don't agree that she has learned
that she helped. Though I don't think she didn't mention their names.
I think she should come clean with the things that made her go to jail.
The people misled her.
The people misled her. The people who took loan and refused to pay back. The people who made her feel, she had lieutenants who made her feel we can do it this way and get away with it. If this were to be the content of her first interview, it would be a bestseller.
I was in Kano when, remember Justice Fred Ayagbuna, one of the greatest judges in the history of our country. His son was convicted by the failed banks tribunal. I was there. And the judge, the retired judge at that time, was present in court. Come and see tears.
That's repentance.
And the money for which the guy was amounted to nothing. But a crime is a crime. A crime is a crime. Even if our law books, or our law book is as big as this, and the crime is only mentioned in one line, it is a crime. And the judge duly sentenced the guy.
So to have somebody who was sentenced coming out to try. I think what she was trying to do with the interview is pin our deal.
Because they are saying the guy is bad. So, okay, some people are saying the guy is bad now.
She wanted to creep in and join the bandwagon.
No, it has not worked.
It didn't work. Rather, it has reminded us of where she was.
Many people didn't even remember this woman.
She has drawn attention to herself with a book detailing our deal without name calling, and then the future generation will say, oh, there was a banker who went to jail. What did she do? Not that because Sanusi thought I wanted his job, he now persecuted. It was persecution that you had 198 properties. It was Sanusi's persecution that you confessed.
You know what those bank chiefs were doing at that time? Because banks suddenly began to...
This one is from a wealthy family background.
Wealthy
family.
People are never tired of making money. People don't retire from making money. No matter how rich they are, you still see them. If it's so easy for people to retire from making money, Dangote shouldn't have built that refinery. Because he was already Africa's richest man before he came up with the idea of building one of the biggest refineries in the world to deliver 650,000 barrels a day. But it's going to make more money as a result of that. Because you are not refining. You are barely refining. So you will depend heavily on him. And as a businessman, he will charge you.
So really, people don't retire from making money.
They don't retire from making money.
Let's see, there are elements of success stories in the Oceanic story. Definitely. There were times, there were people who definitely got raised, banks, companies that had some. But
the bank has already bought it.
Rather than be naming names, she should say these were the things she did right. These were the things she did wrong. Mentioning that somebody stopped a driver, whatever. All those ones were just
persecuted.
So you know what they were doing that I wanted to say? Because banks suddenly began to redesign their buildings, make their buildings modern, these bank chiefs were now setting up property companies. So with those property companies, the contract for the remodeling of their banks
go to them
to make the banks look modern, they were now the ones handling those contracts and were inflating thereby cheating their own banks. Of course, as depositors, in this country, we've seen in the case of Societe Generale, for example, people using depositors' funds to buy shares for themselves. What are we talking about?
Even in the issue of property,
depositors' funds,
they were building private properties at mega amount of money and selling it at inflated price to their banks. Once they know they want to go to Port Harcourt, they will first go, get the property at very cheap amount. Then they now announce that their bank needs a branch in that area of Port Harcourt. Then they will sell it to the bank. So,
and in some cases, those branches were not profitable.
No, they will just, because they have something to gain from it, they will cite it.
Okay, so, moving on now.
It goes beyond just calling names.
Second base,
the stark reality of the menace posed by Boko Haram insurgents against our collective psyche is drawing more on us as the people. Now, Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yomi Osinbajo, lent voice to this when he said a large area in Borno State is still inaccessible and unsafe for health workers due to activities of insurgents. Speaking on the humanitarian situation in the area, Vice President Osinbajo lamented that many people in the state have fled to neighboring communities. The security situation in Northwest also remains precarious, with armed bandits killing 5 persons and burning some 98 villages in Zamfara State recently. It's a country in search of redemption. And if this is coming from the Vice President, I think we are beginning to say the truth the way it is.
Or should we say the truth?
Because for a typical government official, if you ask, but I don't want to mention names, they will tell you that, look,
the situation is under control.
Everything,
the era
all those
of toning
areas,
down the language
they will say,
has gone.
They will say
that there's no.
They will say there is no community in the hands of Boko Haram.
Boko Haram.
They lie saying that even the president will go abroad and say that.
And they don't even like us on this program because of the way we used to.
We need to say the way it is.
I cannot go to Borno State, spend this last Christmas in Borno State, risk my life, and you expect that I will come here and lie. It's not possible. The essence of going there, forgetting about the comfort of my home, in Christmas period, is to be able to get information and see how we can use that information to improve the loss of our soldiers. What are the needs of our soldiers? Weapons, cutting-edge weapons that will deliver victory to them over the enemy. That is what these soldiers need the most. So I can't go to a place, like when you asked me at that time now, that what's the situation of Baga, I told you that Baga was still in the hands of Boko Haram. And at that time, they had just reopened the Daily Trust. Well, that is the truth. That God knows. And shortly after that, when they reclaimed a part of Baga, the same army that claimed that he never lost it for one day went to jubilate. They celebrated it.
The recapture of what
Today,
they never lost.
On the Nigerian Army Twitter handle, they are celebrating again that Boko Haram have fled from Baga. You know, I once said it that it's only a fraction of Baga that we are in control of.
Fishing.
Because even Navy Since that December, Navy, they've not been able to return to their base because the enemy was in charge.
Return to their base.
That is the headquarters of the Navy in the Northeast. But when they came and killed people, killed soldiers, killed naval officers, the place was abandoned. And I'm saying that since that time, the Navy did not go back there to take back their base. But on their Twitter account now, the army is announcing that Boko Haram have fled Baga, which means that what I said back then, there is only a small part that we were holding on to, and it was Nigerian Special Forces that entered Baga. So they are telling us now that the rest of Baga is now in the hands of Nigerian troops. Good news. But in the last 1 or 2 weeks, it's been very bad for us. Magumeri, the Boko Haram came to slaughter our soldiers. And because they know that we really do not admit our setbacks, they flooded the internet with pictures of the dead, which is the most perplexing and the most demoralizing, because some people go on the net and it is right there, that picture of their own relation. That's where they get to know that they've lost a relation. So it's painful. And now the vice president, through the Secretary of Government of the Federation, is saying, look, because of the security situation, the volatile, he said, the security situation remains highly volatile. Mark his words. Thereby causing mass displacement of people to neighboring Lake Chad Basin countries. So remember when the attack ran, our people had to run to Cameroon.
Jide, let me pause you there. We quickly have to take this commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us. Welcome back. Just before we went on that break, Jide, you were making a point.
Yes, I'm telling you that in the last few weeks, both factions of Boko Haram have been very, very active. Very, very active, disturbingly active. The soldiers on the battlefield will tell you, the two factions. So they are attacking us in the Borno North, where those guys are in charge, the Mama North faction, and in part of Borno Central. So both factions are active. They're active. So it's worrisome. When you think that you are finally crushing them, no, you see that these guys, they are still causing troubles. The bulk of the areas that are inaccessible are in Borno North. But as we have seen, even some parts of Borno South and Borno Central is only the local government headquarters that you can be in and say that you are safe. And the Shehu of Borno said that to the president. That if we move out 5 kilometers, people get killed. So this is the fact. We have not defeated the enemy. We are far from defeating the enemy.
I mean, just like to add, let's praise the governor of Borno. In the past 1 or 2 weeks, he came out, I won't say rolling out the drums, to show some of the things he's been able to achieve. All those, construction, all those projects that he was exhibiting. And he had a very great time in the media, praising, despite the odds, what he's been able to achieve. But I want him to also know that while he's showing his success stories, he should also get to, because he's like the closest person there that can easily tell what this situation on the ground is to the presidency. He has to identify some of these areas. We all know now it's a battle that has been going on for so long. Whatever will be required to be able to defeat these people, nothing should be spared. Let me tell you, when Boko Haram, you can see over time, whenever they see there are elements of celebration, either by the government or to show what they've been able to do despite insurgency, these people want to come out and also show you that they are still there. If they are coming out with some of these attacks, it may be another way. Okay, you say you are performing, you are doing well despite Boko Haram, but we are still here. There are things we are doing out there. So in celebrating the achievements, they should also be able to point to the presidency the core areas where failings have been experienced. Like, I love what the Vice President is coming on with, because that's owing up to the shortcoming of the counter-insurgency. So it's now left for the government to be able to meet, terror with bigger terror, if that's what it requires. You have to bring in more into this battle. Yes.
Going to another issue of insecurity in Zamfara and some neighboring states. I even read it earlier this morning that even villages come together now to pay ransom. To pay money to bandits, not to attack those villages.
Come and tell you that if you don't pay this,
that means if the basic, thing, which is security, that the federal government or the government is their responsibility to protect life and property, and if the bandits are telling you that in community, if you don't pay us this amount, we are going to strike.
It simply shows the fact that we are losing control again in the Northwest. You will recall that here on this program, we said the inability of the government of the day back then to curb the rise of Boko Haram as a force within Borno State led to what we have on our hand now. In the 2000 and 2004, the stories were that Boko Haram as a group will go to communities and say, pay us to protect you. And there was a government in place then. There were governments at local government level, at state, and at federal. And some people came together and turned themselves into an alternative force to whatever government has to offer. And we watched them until Boko Haram became the monster we are battling today. Last year, I think it was towards the end of 2017, this banditry issue started gaining momentum. And we were watching. It was a Zamfara thing. It was cattle rustling. It was mayhem robbery. When we fail to take action when we ought to, we always end up being unable to curtail the result. Now, bandits in Zamfara, we are still calling them, in Nigeria, it was Secretary Inde Barrister who said when Nigerians want to confuse you, they will come with one name, that we have names for everything that happens to us. It is no longer, the Northeast is insurgents. Now, this one is banditry. The one in the South was...
Turenchi.
You see, we take delight in branding evil and making it appear manageable. Either it is banditry, it is armed robbery, it is violence that the government owe the people the responsibility of curbing. It just have to be curbed. If we continue to brand and package evil, thinking that will reduce its effect, then we will continue to deceive ourselves.
What do you make of this escalation before we go, especially in the Northwest?
Yeah, because, just as you said, we didn't do enough to stop these bandits. Before now, we were the ones, basically it's only TVC shouting about this Zamfara thing. Yes. We are the ones, it's air that we discuss it, shout about it, and all that. Concrete action was not taken. Now it has spread to Katsina. When Masari took over, he did amnesty with those guys. They stopped killing in Katsina. But because in Zamfara, no amnesty, no serious action made to end the killings, they've now moved into Katsina. Now they are running riot in some local governments in Sokoto like State. Isa, like Tureta, even distant places like Ilela. So it's a big problem that we have now. They are bandits. It's not because they are not terrorists. These ones are out to steal. Boko Haram, the way they operate, like especially the Mamanu faction, they are just out to kill soldiers. They don't have any other enemies. So those ones are terrorists, and they are affiliated to terrorist groups. These ones are thieves.
Commercial bandits.
Yes, this banditry, that's the name. And it didn't start today. This thing, I saw a newspaper of 1966. This thing has been happening, but it has now escalated. That is the problem. They will come to your community. If you don't bring money, we won't allow you to enter your farm. This is what they are doing. Is that not banditry? That's what they are doing. And they collect every day. They must kidnap someone in Zamfara. They are killing even district heads now. Any district head that does not cooperate with them, they will kill. Now they've gone even to kidnap the in-law of the president. An in-law of the APC to the president.
They are gotten so crazy, so crazy that
once you don't crush them, the thing about evil is that once you don't crush evil fast enough, evil will become Frankenstein monster.
That's
and
why,
you will not be able to handle it.
that's why I said that.
We have to go. We have to go. Thank you. Thank you, Dari Odufookon. Shola Ojewusi, thank you, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. And we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubakon. See you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.